So lately, I've been having a lot of pet parents come to me with their fur babies having mobility challenges, like slipping on slick floors, tripping over their own feet, not being strong enough to get up off the floor on their own without human help, maybe dragging their feet along as they go, or seeming like they're in pain. And some of my pet parents have gotten the diagnosis for their fur babies of disc disease. And they're not quite sure what that means, but it sounds scary. So, I want to dive in with an in depth look at what the heck that even is, what you need to be looking out for that might lead you to think it might be disc disease, and what to look for to let you know what your pet might be experiencing, because what we see and what they feel can be different, and help you clear up some of the confusion that can come up from hearing that diagnosis or seeing those symptoms. Because when you have a better understanding of what your baby's going through, you can start to feel like you're in control of the situation again, because you have the information that you need to help them live the absolute best life possible, as opposed to feeling really freaking confused, out of control, and everything feels like it's just in crisis and chaos, and you're constantly just reacting to whatever's coming up next, about two steps behind where you need to be. I want to help you get that peace of mind of feeling in control again with all the information that you need. If you're new to my world, welcome. I'm Dr. Vicky, general chiropractor for people as well as pets. I am a Reiki healer and a mind body coach. I am here to help you and your pets be your very best so that you can go out and live life absolutely unleashed with nothing holding you back and taking in all the joy that life has to offer for you. Now, this topic is gonna be a series, and I don't know how many pieces it's gonna be. Uh, if you've been in my world for a bit, you know I tend to be a little long winded because I want to make sure you have every bit of information I can possibly give you to help you and your fur babies be your very best. I don't want to leave anything out and leave you hanging and missing something that could be really important. At the same time, I personally do know how little time some of us have to sit down and listen to something really long. So I'm going to try chunking this topic into smaller pieces over a span of time. So you're not going to miss anything, but at the same time, you're not going to have to sit down and listen to something really long. It'll be nice bite sized pieces. That said, you will probably hear my alarm in the background. I have set an alarm to help me stay on track, on time, so that you can get the information you need piece by piece and get on with your day and get back to playing with those fur babies and helping them live their very best life, because that helps you live your very best life. And you got other stuff to do too. I get it. So bear with me as I figure out how to do a series. We're going to figure this out. We're doing this together. And by the way, a lot of the information I'm going to be giving you also translates to humans who have this stuff going on too. So some of this might sound familiar or be beneficial to your two-legged loved ones or yourself, as well as your fur babies. So let's dive in and get you some answers on what the heck is going on with disc disease in your fur babies. First of all, what does it even look like? What are you going to see in your pets that might spark you to go get them checked out to even get this diagnosis in the first place? When you start to see your fur baby maybe feeling really stiff or looking really stiff, maybe they're dragging a foot or knuckling over. When they step, they should pick that paw up before they move it. If they're not doing that, then they roll over the top. It's called knuckling over. Maybe they are acting like they're kind of weak, maybe in one leg or two, maybe all four, where they really struggle to get up without you helping them. Or maybe it looks like their feet are slipping, especially on slick floor. Some of My patients slip to the point of falling into the splits or slip just to one side and crash on their shoulder or on their hip. Maybe they stand, but they're not raising their head, they're holding their head down. That's a sign of pain. Another sign of pain is they could have a muscle spasm or a muscle shake or a whole body shake, especially with panting or crying. Something might seem really tender when you go to touch it. They might wince or jerk or pull back or maybe get a little teeth in there. Or they might have those signs of pain when something moves a certain way. Maybe you move their leg a certain way, maybe you move their neck a certain way, and they have that jerk reaction of being in pain. Maybe they've even had changes in how well they can control their bladder or their bowels. So, now that we know what signs to look for that might lead us down that road of, is this disc disease? Is this something else? You get them checked out, you get that diagnosis. Yeah, we think this is disc disease. You might also hear it called some other terms that are all kind of in that same umbrella. You might hear it called IVDD or intervertebral disc disease. I'm going to be throwing just a little Latin at you today. I'm so sorry. I try not to use big words. But these are words you might hear from your vet or another neurospecialist, an orthopedic surgeon, something like that. So it's important to know what they're going to be telling you. They could be calling it spinal stenosis. They could be calling it foraminal stenosis. They could be calling it arthritis or osteoarthritis. They could be calling it a herniated disc, a bulging disc, or a slipped disc, or they could be calling it disc disease, degenerative disc disease, things like that. So, before we wrap up for today for part one, last thing I want to get you the info on is what is it that's actually going on in there? What is happening inside your fur baby's body that is making these symptoms come up? What do all of these terms and big words in Latin have to do with what your pet has got going on inside? When they're experiencing disc disease or any of the other terms that I listed off, what's happening is that something in their body is compressing their nervous system, whether it's compressing their spinal cord or it's compressing one of the nerves that come off of the spinal cord. Most often when you're seeing these particular symptoms, especially a combination of them, there's something compressing the spinal cord itself. Now, what is it that could be compressing it? Could be disc material. Discs are the shock absorbers in between each vertebra. It could be bony overgrowth from arthritis. It could be inflamed tissues. If you've ever rolled your ankle or burned yourself cooking dinner and something swells, that's inflamed tissues. Inflammation leads to something swelling, and that swelling, those swollen tissues, can compress the nervous system. It's kind of like poking a layer cake. I have cake in the fridge, but it's not a layer cake, so it wasn't going to be the best example. So imagine a layer cake, and some little toddler or adult that acts like a toddler decides they're going to poke that layer cake. Now, if they just poke it really lightly, they'll leave just a little dent in the icing, but the cake underneath will be perfectly fine. Nothing has changed with the cake itself, just that icing on the outside. If they poke it harder, with more force over more time, now we start to change what's happening with that first layer of cake under that icing. And the more that things get compressed by the toddler or toddler-like person's finger pressing in on that cake, the more changes are going to happen and the more layers are going to get affected. Same thing happens in the nervous system when it's getting compressed. You start with light compression, just a little bit or for a little bit of time, and you're going to have some symptoms, but they're not going to be very severe. They're not going to be very widespread. The more compression happens, the longer that it's been there, and the more compression that continues to occur deeper and deeper, the more things are going to get affected. So, as we conclude for today, next time we are going to dive into how the heck this even happens and who it happens to. What pets are more at risk for this? It can happen to any pet, but some are more prone to it by a lot. Some are more prone to it by a little. So, who is it that really needs to be watching out for this? And how does it happen? We're going to go into what it is that your pet is experiencing. We see the symptoms that we see looking at them, but what is it that they're feeling, that they're experiencing? How does it look like through their eyes and their body? Because when we understand what they're experiencing, we're able to assist them that much more. And most importantly, we're going to go into what you can do to help support them and be their very best when they've got this condition going on, how to minimize its effects and maximize their quality of life. And if they don't have this condition yet and you want to keep it at bay as much as you possibly can, I'm also going to give you tips on how to minimize that risk of it coming up in the first place. So if you have questions on any of this or how you can use this information for you and your fur baby, reach out to me. Let's chat. 636-751-3150 or go to my website, completewellnesscc.com. And until next time, I'm going to cross my fingers that this recording worked. This was the second time I tried because the first time the audio was not there. Me and technology aren't the best. But I will catch you guys next time on part 2. Go out, love on your fur babies, and be your very best. Bye now.